Hello, welcome back to the Mobile Motorbike Mechanic. I'm Steve. You should join us today on a bit of a wet and horrible day. We're off to Hinckley in Leicestershire today to work on a Honda CB404. We've got quite a few jobs to do on it today, so we'll see you when we get there. Got forks off, got the wheel off. Time to undo the top yoke nut here. It's normally done up pretty bloody tight. Oh, isn't. That was easy. Now this headlamp bracket is connected through from the top yoke to the bottom yoke. This should come undone now. I think it's safe to say it's been a few years since this has been. And there we go. That's the top yoke off. Now we can see the clamping nut here. We can undo this clamping nut now and drop the bottom yoke out. C-spanner for undoing these ones. As you can see, it just fits in the groove and then you undo it. And there we go. Coming undone. Lovely. Just let that hang down there. And there we go. One bottom yoke out. Ooh, look at the state of that. So that's your top brace. You can see there's rust in that. That's the actual bearing seat itself that it sits on. So yeah, well and truly knackered they are. You could probably clean them up and repack them and reuse them, but we've got brand new ones. And there's your top seal. So that lot sits on the top of your it sits on the top of the stem like that, and you've got your bottom one down here. It's normally your bottom one that notches because of the weight of the bike sitting on that, and that's not looking too clever either. As you can see, it's all rusty and horrible. So we'll get all that apart, get it cleaned up, get some new bearings put on there, get some new bearing seats. If you have a look inside here, inside the inside the stem, you can see it's just all pretty bad, pretty rusty and horrible. So like I say, we'll get all that apart, we'll take the bearing seat out, we'll take the bottom bearing seat out, press new bearing seats in. So this is the old bearing that's coming out. This is just a standard roller bearing, and these are the new bearings that are going in. So these are needle roller bearings, and you can see the bearing surface is massive compared with the old one. It's, you know, it's double, so much better quality. So we'll get that all packed up with grease, we'll get that in the bin, and we'll get these fitted. So after much swearing and hitting things with hammers, we managed to get the top race out. As you can see, it's absolutely filthy and horrible in there. So that's the top race. We've managed to get the bottom race out of the steering stem as well. So that's that lot done. So now we need to go around to the back of the van. Got our little hoist set up on the tow hitch here, and we're going to get this race off of this steering stem. So to do that, hammer, and yes, I know it's a carpenter's hammer, a couple of sharp chisels, and all we're going to do is just going to start hitting this, drifting it round and rolling it up, and we'll get it off. Okay, so finally beat that one off, then the steel. So we'll just give this a quick clean up. Put a brake cleaner on it, give it a clean, get rid of the schmoo. There we go, he's looking a lot cleaner. So we'll get the new seal and the new bearing seat onto that now. It's starting to rain properly. So, new seal on first. Simple as that. And this is the bearing seat that's going to go on. No, actually that's the bearing that's going to go on. That goes upside down into the bottom of the steering stem. So that's just going to sit on there. And we're going to press that on. Press that on. But first we're going to fill that with grease. We've grease packed that lower bearing now. We've got the seal on. No, always put the seal on first. I have been known to forget it. So bearing race goes on now, nice and square, and then we have the fitment tool. So this fitment tool, you see there's a inside race that sits on there. Sits on the inner, not on the outer, and we can just drive it on. And when we say drive it on, we mean hit it with a hammer. And there you go, that's it all fit. Right. So that's ready to go back in the bike. We need to do the other half of that in the bike. Let's go. So as we can see, what we've done is basically we've replaced that bearing there. So now we need to replace that bearing shell up inside there. So we'll just get that bearing shell fitted and then we'll come back in. So bearing seat going into the bottom of the steering stem here. So we just need to find the appropriate size bearing set tool. What you want is you want obviously no bigger than this. You actually want it slightly under, just so that it doesn't, that tool doesn't get caught in the stem as well. So I reckon that's 54 is pretty good. Yeah, 53, so you're going to start actually rolling around inside the taper, so that's no good. So 54 mil, we'll get that fitted in. Basically all you do is pop the bearing seat on there, whole lot underneath, hit it with a hammer, drive it in. So we've set the top bearing race now as well, so that's all in. So that's both races in, so now it's just a question of refitting everything that we took apart back in. So this piece, bottom bearing race, top bearing race, all of these, they're all scrap. The seals, scrap. We need the dust cover and we need the lock nut. But everything else, all of those parts, is rubbish. This is the top bearing and the bearing race in one. I'll just pack that with grease, so he's all ready to go. Top seal there. So yeah, we'll get it together. Join us in a second. So that's the yoke refitted. We've tightened that nut up, and all we need to do is pop the steering stem back together again. That's the top yoke nut back on there. Quick nip up with the old 24 mil. Oh, sorry, this is 30 mil. And you know what we want to do is just check, make sure they move nicely side to side, which they do. So we'll get everything else refitted, get the bars back on. There we go. Line up our marks from earlier, which are there. Get those bar holders in. There we go. Looking more like a motorcycle. Right. So join us back in a minute and we'll have the forks in. Okay, so front wheel, we've got a speedo drive on this one because of the age of the bike. So speedo drive on the right hand side, so we know which way the wheel is going to go and fit in. Space that. So yeah, speedo drive is on the left hand side of the bike, so nice and simple to know which way around the wheel goes on this one. So we'll get that connected up. Now we'll leave the calipers dangling because we're doing a brake. What are we doing? We're doing a brake rebuild on this next. So stay tuned for that one.